Hello, good afternoon, good morning, good evening, everyone. Thank you very much for joining us on our first Entrepreneurs Live session, sponsored by Geneva Business School. So this new program, it's focused on getting insights from successful entrepreneurs that have business in different parts of the world and a variety of sectors, identifying how they choose their entrepreneurial path and guiding students into an entrepreneurship world. So today, to kick off this brand new program, we have Benjamin Kaminsky, who will be interviewed by our faculty member Antoine Delmas. Okay, so the topic of today is entrepreneurship, digital transformation of HR processes thanks to AI and automation. So here a little bit about the speaker. He's the founder and CEO of EVA.AI, and he has a background in journalism, and Ben has then started his path as an entrepreneur, founding a company in business intelligence and analytics, then a consultancy firm. Ben believes that the best entrepreneurs constantly change their product, their processes, their people, and most importantly, themselves. So without further ado, I will give the floor to Antoine Delmas so he can start the interview with Benjamin Kaminsky. Thank you very much, Benjamin, for being here today. It is an honor and a pleasure of having you within our community, and I hope you enjoy the interview. Likewise for you, Antoine, thank you very much for your participation. So, well, let's start.
All right, thank you, Eduardo, for this amazing presentation. So welcome everyone. I'm very happy to start this. This is a little project we want to start a little time, and finally it's on. So that's great. So you understand why we're doing this as well, and why we can do that. I mean, I've been doing this quite a few times in my classes, and always kind of invited entrepreneurs to talk to the students, and I always thought it's very interesting, and there's a lot of insights to get from that. From real people and real experiences. The thing is, because of what's happening today in our world, right? This lockdown for everyone, it kind of opened it, and it allowed me to do something I was not able to do before, which is inviting entrepreneurs, people that I know from other countries to talk, right? And this before in the class was difficult, right? I had to always look at people from Barcelona or that live in Barcelona. And now it opens up, right? So it gives much more opportunities to get more options of people that could be very interesting for everyone to hear, right? Because every entrepreneur has stories, and especially we can choose different sectors, and that's what I think it's very interesting. The model is an interview, because I think interviews it gives more insight, right, than just a lecture, just somebody talking. Especially now we are fully online all the time, so I think a conversation is always better. So I'm very happy about this. This is the first one of many, and I hope you guys all enjoy it. The way it's going to work, if you have any, there's going to be a Q&A session at the end, between 10 and 15 minutes. So please use the chat to post your questions, and depending on the time that we have at the end, right, I will. Depending on number of questions more, I will choose them or try to put them all. Obviously, questions for Ben. So I'm very happy to have Ben here with me. Ben is a dear friend of mine since many years. Actually, I don't even want to remember how many years, but it's been a long time. So really a strong friendship. We actually lived in London. He lives in London, and I lived there as well. So a couple of times. And so great friend here, and always I always was very interested about, always admire him about his path and what he's been doing into this world of entrepreneurship and the product that he's launching. We actually worked together at some point. I actually kind of worked for him, we can say, as a bit of a consultant, let's say. I helped him building. He's going to talk about this product, but I helped him building the sales strategy for the product, the first product of what is EVA today, right? Which what we're going to talk about in a bit. And that was fun. And yes, we said friends cannot work together, but in that case, it worked pretty well. So yeah, there was a bit of money made out of this strategy, so I'm pretty happy about that. But the product is not there anymore, so now it's shifted to something else, which is much bigger and much more with much more scope to the future, right? All right, so Ben, first, could you tell us a bit about yourself, who you are, and a bit of background?
Yeah. Thanks for the introduction, Eduardo. Indeed, Antoine, it's been years, and I remember actually when we started to work together, and you made a pretty well sales strategy, and you had our first major client, which was a restaurant chain, a Spanish restaurant chain in London.
True.
The best actually restaurant chain in from Spain in London. A little bit about me. Well, I'm French from Paris. Studied as well in Spain, in Bilbao. That's where we actually started to know each other, since I was traveling via Vueling to Barcelona. And then I've studied in America, journalism. Then what happened is that I've had the opportunity to work in a media consulting group. And I was a fresh intern, and I was passionate about technology, process, and how to make something faster, better, cheaper. And in this media consulting group, I've stayed there 5 years, and I started as an intern, and after 3 years, I had my own department, I had my own team, and we developed a system that was augmenting the media consultant. So basically, what we were doing in this media consulting group, we were analyzing a vast amount of news articles, and we were coding the articles to know who had the best reputation online. So imagine like a communication director, they want to know if they had like more articles than its competitors, if the articles were more favorable. And then all this data, we were like giving some reports on how to best improve the communication strategy. So it was like PR measurement, communication audit kind of work. And when I started as an intern, I've seen a lot of frustration and waste. And you're gonna see it's the same methodology that I have applied, and I'm still applying for EVA. We took like the best technology at that time. It was 10 years ago, and we made a system that was basically analyzing semantically all the journalists, so the news articles. But since we had like the power of technology, we could like then analyze blogs and social media, and we were basically doing what human researchers was doing with technology, with semantic search engine. And yeah, after 5 years, we had I left there with like a lot of clients. We worked for Adidas, SAP, Philips, McDonald's, the European Commission. So I got a lot of experience in various sectors, various industries, but always in media measurement and PR measurement. And then then I decided to part, and I had always this entrepreneur instinct, and I wanted to create my own life, my own company. And we started, and I started doing a consultancy based on new technology of information and communication. So basically, applying what I have built for this media measurement, but in other sector, because the technology can be it's like a Swiss knife. You can like use it for various industries. Then what happened is that in parallel, I had always this dream of building a marketplace, matching offers and demand, trying to make sense of like a mini market. And this is how Lucky Link started to be created on the side of the technology consultancy.
So when you talk about, so you had a consulting firm, so you were employing a few people, and so you switched from that to open your own company. Would you say, because there's always this question about consultancy, is it entrepreneurship, is it not? Because when you do consult, so what is the big difference for you in that case? Because I mean, there's always a kind of a step there, right?
Yeah. So a consulting agency, even though it was developing technology project, always needed a lot of human, and it's difficult to scale a consulting agency. You need the more clients you have, the more brain power you need. The idea behind switching from a tech consulting agency to a tech startup was the will or the objective to scale and to build, to create a product that users could use themselves.
Okay, so yeah, makes total sense. That I can totally see that consultancy is, if you're not there, it's very difficult to scale it, right? I mean, of course, you see McKinsey and all these companies, they're massive, right? But it can be always difficult. So let's fast forward a little. So you go from consultancy to build a marketplace. Obviously, marketplace still today. I mean, this is a very trendy topic. Lots of people are talking about marketplaces, right? At the time, I mean, there was not so many, right? I mean, but we're not talking about 30 years ago anyway. But there's much more marketplaces today than like I don't know, 5-10 years ago, right? And so it's a very trendy topic. So obviously, a lot of people are looking to that, and I see that a lot in entrepreneurs and everything. Everybody wants to. Not everybody, a lot of people are interested about that. So what happened there? So you're like, okay, you want to build a marketplace, but what happens from there, right? Why the industry? So what is the industry that you chose for that?
Well, building a marketplace is it's one of the biggest dream, but it's one of the most difficult thing to do. You think Amazon, you think freelancer.com, having having the both to have the people that sell something and the people that buy something and organize this like microeconomy, it's very, very difficult. You need to, there are a lot of opportunities, but a lot of challenges. And we built our first product. It was called Lucky Link. It was in this gig economy trend, a marketplace of people that wanted to work in hospitality, so in hotels, bars, and restaurants. It was focused in London, and we built this marketplace in a certain way. It was not done via you form and then go in the marketplace and somebody click and then start to buy immediately. It was based on the messenger. So that's where actually the first concept of EVA as an employment virtual agent started to emanate. The people were on the platform. They were saying, "I want to work for £10 an hour." And I'm a waiter, and I have 3 years experience. So basically, the app could store this information, and then it would look around all the other the hiring managers of restaurants, bars, and hotels, And the same way, people were saying, I want a waiter for tomorrow, and I'm looking for £9 per hour. And like this is where like the conversation, the conversation-based marketplace was created. And then, and you are going to understand for what we are doing right now at EVA, then there were a lot of like matching mechanism. So how to make sure that like the right person, the right price at the right location for the right actually type of segment, because you don't work for a hotel the same way as you work for like a trendy bar. So a lot of like matching and machine learning started to start from there. And you're going to also understand that a lot of conversation based UX started from this product.
Okay, and all right. So I mean, for people that don't know, gig industry will be the gig. I mean, will be the gig economy will be like this temporal job that I imagine, right? I mean, this getting a job, which that's why hospitality. I mean, I totally understand for the background, right? But hospitality is people were looking for staff quickly, and there's a high rotation of staff, right? And that's what made the problem you were resolving mainly, right? Which is to be able to hire quickly and providers that you have problems when you cannot find the right people, right? So okay, so you build this. What happens? What happens then? I mean, what was the challenges that made you, because you spend quite a lot of time on this, and then obviously you 3 years on this. It's a long time. It's a lot of hours, a lot of dedication. What happened? Why did you pivot it? What was the reason for that?
So, first of all, you know, the first movers in a disruptive, innovative sector are not always the one that gets the lion's shares. The fact that we had to educate, to evangelize, to deploy like some, to build the product, to test, refine, and to spend a lot of money for building this marketplace, because you first, it's like a chicken and egg kind of game, the marketplace industry. You need to have the workforce, and you need to have the clients. It's B2B2C, yeah. So we had to find a lot of people in the restaurant, in the restaurant industry, and then you need to match them with like the restaurants. So it's a numbers game, and the challenges, the most difficult part. At some point, you get the workforce, you get the client. We had like very good. We had like good traction, but then like it's about like your business model, and nailing your business model is like very it's challenging. So we've started to have, the first idea was like the hiring managers were paying for the connection, and that was not the right business model. Then like we started to say, you're going to pay for the interview with like a relevant candidate, and it was still not the right business model. And then we ended up like getting paid for the placement, and this is where we started to pivot. Making money on the placement, it's a recruitment agency. So this was like our first pivot. We became the first hospitality London-based recruitment agency powered by AI, and we were getting paid on the placement, but it was 50% less than like any of other recruitment agencies, because we didn't have like the number of recruiters. Everything was done systematically and programmatically by the first version of EVA.AI. And actually, the person in charge of the community that's now is the AI was like named Eva Williams, and now we took the name of the AI community system of Lockheed Inc. and we built EVA.AI, the SaaS platform, which is it today.
And so you started a pivot, and little by little you saw an opportunity. How did you see the opportunity to go fully for EVA?
Well, we were, like we after 18 months of product launch, you start to want to get your money from institutional investors. So we were starting fundraising, and so we're going to come back on the fundraising question, but the important thing for entrepreneurs, I think, is like to understand that you pivot when we had to pivot, because the people that were wanting to give us money were actually for funding were recruitment agency directors. They saw that we were like faster, and they started to say, and then we started to have conversation with them, and they say, well, actually, we don't want to fund you, but we want a license from your software. Mm-hmm. And this where we started to say, okay, instead of like getting like a 5% on the placement, well, let's sell licenses to businesses, and the license business model, it's much more. It's the best. It's one of the best business model. Obviously, it's recurrent. It's a subscription. So yeah, this is how we moved from AI-powered recruitment agency to a license-based software for recruitment agencies.
I love this, because I think it's and that's what I see with a lot of students as a teacher, and is to try to show as well that nothing is settled, right? It's you can start with a big idea, and you're going to. It's more probable that you're going to change, right? That you're going to change along the way. But I do like this idea of saying, all right, it's our client that is telling us what to do at the end of the day, right? Without saying it and without talking, but by requesting that, buying some kind of a product or asking for some kind of a product of my company, right? I'm seeing that an opportunity there. So you got to be quite open and see, well, in kind of a way, money talks, right? And it's true that when it comes to customers, it's really interesting to be able to, like, a lot of companies are doing that, right? They're pivoting because customers are asking certain kind of products, right? And that's interesting. So from there, that's it. So you big step, right? Changing the whole thing and changing the name and quite. What is it that you did? So what is EVA? What did this become, and how was this change?
So yeah, I completely agree. I mean, it's how you adapt, you evolve, and make and always pursuing like the right formula. You have it's like a big equation always to solve, and you need to adapt your parameters. And pivoting is also, you see, like we've pivoted like in our business model, and then we have pivoted in our category. So we moved from a gig economy marketplace to an AI recruitment agency, and then now we were like we had to move this software that we built for us. We had to transform it to service multiple other businesses. So we SaaSified our platform, making SaaS, software as a service. This took some time, and today EVA. So in 2018 and 2019, the software was targeted to a recruitment agency, so professional of recruitment professionals that works for corporates, recruitment agents. And now EVA is actually a software targeted to large corporations. So again, in 2020, we have like tweaked a little bit our platform to get to the to where there is even more opportunities, global opportunities. Today, I mean, the last success we had with EVA, now EVA has become the platform that the United Nations Development Program used to recruit experts, consultants all around the world. So we are deploying that for them, and they are going to use EVA to deploy consultant all around the world. So EVA is helping in the vetting on those candidates that want to work for the UNDP and then work on crisis related jobs for climate change, for COVID-19 and so on. So today EVA is working for large organizations to streamline their recruitment and deployment processes. The AI, I mean, it's still the same. It's still the same concept. We are EVA.AI is eliminating the waste and the frustration with human resource processes. The product, its vision is to at the end develop like an artificial intelligence that is capable of augmenting the human resource departments of large companies. So before we were like helping recruiters doing their job faster, finding candidates and like sending them like to clients. Now we are helping large organizations like finding candidates, screen them, vetting them, and then deploying them internationally.
It's a massive market, no? I can imagine.
Yes, it's 14. Well, the HR tech market is 14 billion. Our segment is $6 billion and growing at 14% annually.
Wow. Okay.
It's the future of work.
Yeah, makes sense. I totally see the waste. I mean, on a very small scale as well, for small startups and everything, I can see waste everywhere when it comes to HR. And I think there's a lot of things to be done, not just the hiring, but even the follow-up processes, right? It's very interesting. And so, why do you think a SaaS? Because I mean, it's always the question, right? But a lot of people say SaaS is one of the greatest business model there is. Why would you think that? Why SaaS could be such a great opportunity? And it's something which is blowing up entirely.
Well, every entrepreneur is after recurrent revenues. Licenses can be on a monthly basis, can be on a yearly basis, but people are signing for multi-years. So you have this comfort of knowing that in 12 months you're gonna have this amount of cash, so you can burn this amount of money now. Mm-hmm. And so that's the first thing, it's stability. Second, SaaS is great. I lost what I wanted to say. So revenues, cost, and it's called the SaaS model is continuous. So you can you can build a product that does A, B, and C, and then looking at your client that are paying this amount of money for product A, B, and C, you can see that they are going to want C, D, and E. and then you can like build and shape your product so that like you increase the value you bring to your clients, and then also increase the level of subscription. So this is why everybody likes SaaS model. It's because it's not a one-time. It's not a one-time and just a transaction. You build relationship with your clients. You provide more and more values, and obviously you can create a new product, new features of your product. Actually, if like I need to be more exact, new features of product that add more value and add more revenues.
Makes sense.
Did I
Makes sense.
answer your question?
But it's because it's definitely something which is very interesting and but quite crowded as well, right? So a lot of people are talking about building SaaS products and but at the end of the day, there's a high competition into this, right? And in every sector, right?
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
Is it something that is a threat for you? Is it a threat?
Well, it's a very big market. Again, it's 6 billion. The HR tech is the HR tech category, and we are talking about automation and AI the bit. If you take like the HR tech as a whole, as an entrepreneur, you need to really understand the tectonic plaques of your market. HR tech, you have. I can like give you a big picture so that like then like the student can understand better if they are not familiar with this this industry. You have like 3 big tectonic plaques. You have the recruitment and talent acquisition. So all the software that are dedicated for recruitment and candidates. So before the candidate become an employee, then you have the big segment, all the HR, all the technology that is dedicated to the employee, onboarding, and then you have the learning bits. So it's like the education of the employee to get like better. That's so it's post placement. And in there is like solution that targets a specific type of clients, a specific type of processes. You have a point solution that only takes care of one thing, for example, video interview or payrolling. And you have like a multi-million dollar companies that are only doing one thing. Then you have like the massive the big players that are taking care of like something very horizontal. Yeah. So for example, SAP SuccessFactors or Workday, and so they are like really horizontal, and they are targeted to large corporations. And then you, so for an entrepreneur, it's like really important to find its positioning and to find product market fit. And I think we can talk about product market fit a little bit later.
Yeah, no, definitely. I mean, this is one of the biggest. This is one of the gold box, right? The product market fit is something that we hear more and more and more, and that's one of the reasons why a very high percentage of startups fail, is because they just don't build products that people actually want, right? And actually need and would pay for it, right? Because at the end of the day, that's what it is.
Yes.
Would you say that would you say is it disrupting the industry? Is there a shift, right? And are you part of this into the old HR processes to what is the present and what is going to be in the future?
So our current strategy is to be the best in our own subcategory. So automation and AI in HR processes. Automation is, is something key, especially in this environment. what's unique about what we do is that we are applying automation and AI to HR processes in a way that is very agile, flexible, and can obviously eliminate, that's what we want, eliminate the waste and frustration, the waste of number of hours of that people spend on a specific process. So we can like automate, because what we believe is that like if in a process something can be automated, it should be automated, provided that it brings value to all the stakeholders that are part of the processes. And the way we look at things is that we have converged several technologies in a single in the brain of EVA.AI. EVA.AI has a component called natural language processing or natural language understanding. So it's the technology behind Google Home or Siri or all those type of technology where the machine can understand what the human wants and what the human say. So that's the first part of EVA. EVA is engaging with candidates, with employees, with hiring managers, and try to understand what they want and how to move them in the right direction for their to make them transit to the next stage of the process faster, better, and cheaper. That's the first big component inside the EVA brain. The second component in EVA brain is machine learning. So this is about predictive analytics, building knowledge set to understand data and try to create and build some probabilities on what should be the next state in the process. So I'll give you an example. Concretely, EVA, we plug EVA onto the system, an HR system, and we are going to analyze and try to cluster candidates around, for example, who are the employees that are most likely to receive a promotion. Yeah, so we are like creating probabilities of saying, okay, those 200 people have a 90% probability of getting a promotion based on historical data, and then we can create an automation based on that. So send an email, send an SMS, invite them for like a meeting with the HR and so on. So this is what the second part is, the machine learning bit, and then on top is the robotic process automation. This is also like a very key concept. It's RPA, and it's basically to reduce manual and repetitive tasks. And all three combined create like a tremendous productivity, cost efficiency, effectiveness, but also personalization at scale. That's very important. Today, we are consumers. We are like used of getting a Deliveroo, or I don't know how it's called in your country, but like getting a pizza. Deliveroo. Yeah, getting a pizza and knowing exactly where is your pizza, and when is your delivery guy will be, and like you can even like hear ring when like it's closed on your map. Well, it's the same. It's the same concept we are applying with candidates and employees. They know everything. They have total transparency on the portal where EVA is like communicating with them.
I see that the possibilities are endless when you think about it, right? When you can even reach talk about productivity, right? Increase productivity after, and so it's really an interesting field for sure. Not only from the hiring, but the much after, right? The existence of the employee within the company. What would you say would be the if you had to imagine what would be the future of AI in the next 5 years into this sector? And 5 years is a long time in technologies like that. what would it look like? What do you think? Could you imagine a story about that? Something that will happen?
Yeah.
In that progress.
Well, you've seen. You've watched Iron Man, yeah? Tony Stark. He's got his AI, yeah, to augment his cognitive capabilities. Jarvis or Friday. Well, I think like what we want from the product is that EVA becomes the Jarvis of any employees and any candidates or any hiring managers inside companies. So EVA would like help them select their future job, getting the best training module set, calculating probabilities to recommend the best fit options for this or these scenarios, and yeah, and giving some foresight on the outcomes of their decisions. You know, like really augmenting them and like helping them getting the best decision.
Makes sense. It can go very far. Let's talk a little bit about quickly about funding, because it's always something that is a question that everybody has. There's always people don't know exactly how did you go? How would you talk about these different steps of funding and how maybe difficult it is, or was it easier at start and became more difficult after? How would you? Where are you now in funding your Series A, from what I understood, right? So can you tell me more about that?
So the investment community, I mean the institutional investors, they have like specific criteria. It varies from countries to countries and depending on the market. We don't have yet an institutional investors. We had a couple of term sheets, but like the timing is very crucial. Getting funds is something that can really impacts your trajectory, and getting the right institution behind you is very important. So it's not easy. We had our seeds, our post seeds, our again another seed. But Series A is the terms need to be right, and timing is key. And the person, the type of VC, and what they are expecting from you, and what terms they put in your contract is very, very, very tricky.
And let's say that your seed investments, sort of the first investments that you have, right? The pre-seed, seed, post-seed, all this, which is allow you to start your product and and reach product market fit and all this. We always say that those investments are based on hope, right? Because you don't have much numbers yet, you don't have but somehow what is interesting is that somehow these investments are based on not many numbers, not many metrics, so hope that it will work in the future, hope that the entrepreneur is the right one, but somehow these investments look like always that they are easier to get than when you already have numbers, and you go to Series A, which is much more, as you say, like an institution, right, where they look at much more deeply into everything, right, your business plan and forecasts and all this. So that's a bit of contradictory, right? But was it the case for you as well?
Yeah.
What's the year at start?
Yeah. The metrics and your KPIs for a Series A are crucial. The team is also crucial, and the success you have with your clients, the repeatable business, and SaaS, VCs they like SaaS a lot. Now the question is, to reach a certain level of investment, you need to generate a certain amount of revenue, and this threshold is like it's hard to get. To succeed, to get the basic metrics is $1 million in ARR, which is annualized recurrent revenue. So you need to have enough clients that pays monthly, that pays annually $1 million repeat business to get like a big fat cash between $3 to $5 million for a Series A. Now, like the Series A tends to be that goes even like it takes longer to in this environment. Series A it takes longer, and you need to have even like a better metric than that.
All right, cool, thank you. What mistakes you've done that you wish you would have avoided? Things that you've done in the past, obviously connected to your companies.
Yeah. So it's in the sales process for SaaS, you have different funnel of activities, and you don't live on hope, and you don't live on hope, and even your probabilities of like getting one contract, even if it's at 90%, because you have done this and this and that, and you have this kind of reaction by the decision maker, and you have all the influences with you, never hire before the contract is signed. That's one of the key. Yeah, that's one of the key. The key
hiring on
mistake. Yeah, don't hire on hope. Sign the contract and then expand your team. Yeah, so that's one of the key mistakes I would advise not to do.
Anything you would say about products?
Product-wise,
I mean, from what I remember, it was quite, your LinkedIn was quite, there was a lot of features, there was a lot of things, right?
Yeah. It's really building, shaping your product roadmap in a way where you have validation that the client is going to use it. Less in product, less is more, and really the key thing is to find product market fit is to understand if your product is going to be used and how much your client is going to pay for it, to have validation on this data, and especially how fast he's going to want to pay. Because like people, sometimes the users, they say, oh yeah, it would be nice to have that, but actually if they don't pay a certain amount of money, where you're going to be profitable, and if they are like opening their checkbook and signing the contract fast, this is like very key.
Yeah, no, definitely, and that's one of the basics of product market fit, right? Are people paying? Are people paying enough? And is there enough people paying, right? There's always this question about, okay, well, we talk a lot about product market fit. It's like the goal, right? It's like we all want to reach that, but it's very difficult to measure as well, and it depends a lot on different kinds of sectors, products. A lot of people ask me, okay, but when do I reach product market fit? Do you have product market fit? Do you think at this stage you can say that you have it? You've reached it?
Okay. Yeah. We reached it. So that's interesting because you can reach product market fit on certain features, and you still have developed some features that are not product market fit, but you are thinking, you're like anticipating in your vision that you're gonna have product market fit. Yeah, I mean, like we the last 12 months, we really had like major successes with large organizations, the likes of Cisco, the United Nations, a big telecommunication company, the equivalent of Vodafone in Russia. And yeah, like those large organizations, they are in dire need of automation in HR.
Okay, so well done, because everybody is trying to reach that, and must be quite of a satisfaction for sure. All right, cool. Yeah. I want to now a bit of just want to do some rapid fire questions. So I will ask you a few questions, and if you can answer with 1 or 2 words, that'll be great. There's going to be a few of those. How would you measure success? Luck versus work versus talent. How would you put it? Luck, work, talent.
10% luck, 80% work, and 10% talent.
All right, so you still need a bit of luck. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
How many hours a day do you work on average?
Between 10 and 12, like 11. Yeah.
All right. What is the most important, the journey or the results?
The journey or the results? Well, I would say both, but it depends on your cash flow. You can enjoy your journey when you have cash flow, and like wait for the results in a less stressed way. But like, yeah, the results are super important. You need to reach certain milestone by certain due dates all the time.
It gives confidence, of course.
Yeah.
What was your key driving force to become an entrepreneur?
Yeah, I wanted to create something. Creation, I think.
Creation, creating your own.
It's an amazing feeling to create something. Yeah, whether it's a product, a process, right? And a company. Yeah, I think that's the.
What still motivates you to fight for success every day? We know that the entrepreneur life is a tough life as well. So what motivates you for that every day to go to this fight, and fight it and win it or lose it, but still doing it every day?
I think it's the team you work with that are relying on you as a CEO to give like a vision, to give motivation, to give structure, but also your clients. Once you get like product market fit, and your clients, they are relying on you, and that like just motivate you because they just want more and more. When they are like when your product works and add value, they are relying on you, and you want to have more and more, throw more and more in value in your to them. Yeah.
How did you handle adversity and doubt? How do you handle it? Right? It's past, present.
Adversity and doubt. Well, with always with humor, light touch, lightness, because at the end of the day, it's a game, even if it's you're working and your work depend on that, but like it's a game, but you need some humor, and it's only a game.
Okay.
It's a hard game. You need to play it hard.
It's a tough game. It's a tough game. That's for sure.
Yeah.
It's a tough game, yeah. But still, yeah, I totally agree. 3 skills and qualities to be a good leader.
Being persistent, consistent, and trust in your team, trust in your future. Yeah.
Okay. What was the hardest decision you ever had to make?
Well, after at some point in our first pivot, the decision was like should I stay or should I go? It was like, should you go on? Should you go on, or do you take your losses and you just like get hired by a company? And all, like, yeah, that's the hardest decision I had to make. But keeping on, yeah,
for sure. How do you define success?
Professional success, not
or your company success, let's say.
Yeah, I think it's the monetary value that a client or an investor is willing to pay for the value you add. Yeah.
Okay. What is your favorite aspect of being an entrepreneur?
It's your rights and your responsibilities. It's your freedom as well. Yeah.
Freedom, definitely. What has been the most satisfying moment for you in business?
Well, it's when your client gives a genuine, super positive feedback on your product, but also on your teammates. Yeah, it's an amazing feeling.
Definitely. What would you recommend any young entrepreneur, student to invest their time in when they start a business? What will be the main thing they should do? What do you think?
Well, especially from the at the beginning is product market fit, and there are like some specific stuff an entrepreneur should not like delegate. It should know it's like its client, its product, and its processes.
So do it your own and be with the customer and try to figure it out.
Yeah.
Any advice? So last question: what advices would you give to all the people listening right now? What to people? There are many students, many people who are already maybe started something or they want to start something. What would you say to people about this entrepreneur life? What advice would you give?
I think it's important not to start the entrepreneurship too early. I think it's really important to experience first, to work in startups before a certain number of years, and or work in companies that have this startup mindset, because it's a different game. Starting your own business, it's a different game. Yeah. So get en français on dit faire ses dents. D'abord.
Sure. I'm not sure if you said that in English, but yeah. Okay, cool. Thank you, Ben. So now we're going to take questions. We have Danielle, who is a student of mine. How much of the hiring process takes place on the platform?
How much?
How much of the hiring process takes place on the platform, or is it just the matchmaking function? Where does the software use case end?
So in the candidate experience journey, it's from sourcing to scheduling interviews. So sourcing, vetting, matching, scheduling interviews. Now with the candidate, with the employee experience journey, it becomes like much more. It goes deeper. It can be for career mobility, promotion. It can be for mapping capacities, and then there are a lot more use cases in the employee side. And there is a cool feature that we are like we have created at the end of last year. It's the cognitive analytics of EVA.
Cognitive analytics.
So imagine imagine EVA, imagine EVA as your analytic tool. That's like a cool augmentation.
Okay, I have you from Daniel again. Have you ever considered an exit strategy, selling the IP or the software to a bigger player?
Sorry, a small parenthesis.
Yeah, it's part.
Sorry to interrupt. Just a small parenthesis, because now that we are entering to the Q&A session, Paloma is going to put on the chat box a Google form in which we kindly ask you everyone to please fill it out. This helps us to measure satisfaction and also to keep you all invited for next session. So Paloma will put this now, and please proceed with the answering of the questions, Ben. Sorry for that.
Perfect. Thank you.
Thank you.
So yeah, exit strategy.
We have thought about our exit strategy. It's inside our business plan. There are several. There are 4 exits. Obviously, there is the there is IPO, but like most likely would be to be part of a larger group that wants automation, machine learning, and NLU capabilities in their ecosystem.
Okay, makes sense. Yeah. How copyable? That's interesting. Yeah, good question. How copyable are AI systems? Is there a big threat or competition in this field? Well, there's 2 different questions, but let's say, how copyable are AI systems? That would be the first one in that case.
Well, AI is about training sets, whether it's a natural language understanding or a machine learning model. You can't copy AI because you would need to copy the model set. Now, if the model set is private, the prediction that you make is going to be yours. So you cannot copy AI. It's difficult. You need to. It's difficult to copy.
That gives quite a lot of value, which is great actually. That's interesting. I didn't know that as well. From Carl, how do you negotiate the percentage sold? How do you keep the highest ownership? Yes, it's always something that people are asking when it comes to investments and funding.
How do you keep your percentages?
Well, first is, how do you negotiate the percentage that you sell to the investments through the different rounds, and then how do you keep the ownership, right?
That's an excellent question. It's a chicken and egg again. It's a catch-22 question, because at the end of the day, in front of you, you have somebody that has an objective and a portfolio and an ROI. He said like he wants to reach a minimum of 5x in 5 years, or 10x in 3 years, depending on like how aggressive the investors are, or they are like just saying, oh, I want 2x in 7 years. So they're gonna have like a certain amount of like shares they want to buy for a certain amount of money. So if their sweet spot is they are investing between 1 and 5 million, usually they want like between 15 and 25% anyway. So then it's it's about like you as an entrepreneur, how much do you want to give? But like in seed and in pre-seed, seed, post-seed, and Series A, it's always like you give like between 10 to 20% at each round. Then there are like some there are some other but types, it's about how much do you need to achieve how many what's your objective. So if, for example, you need £3 million to achieve £1 million ARR, then you're going to say, okay, I'm going to sell. Then it's going to be like a negotiation. But how do you keep it? It depends on the investors, and it depends on like how much do you need to achieve, how much revenue.
But it's a hard conversation though, because it can be very tricky, because on one side you say, all right, I want to reach that milestone, right, and I need that amount of money. But then let's say that, you know, investors come in and they don't put all that money, they want to put less. But you kind of with a knife on the throat, and you're going to accept it, but it doesn't allow you to reach that milestone. So it's a bit of a vicious circle, right? Because so to get that, so you would say, all right, I'm not going to reach that milestone, but I reach less. But is it possible then the business will be successful? Maybe not, right? So it can be very tricky funding at the end. I think at the beginning the pre-seed and all this, it's easier, but when you get to real numbers, it can be really tricky, right? Because you know what you need, right? And to reach that can be. What is the impact of AI from Andrea? What is the impact of AI on creativity and innovation?
The impact of AI on creativity and innovation. It's a positive impact. I think it's a positive impact because AI augments your cognitive capability. So you are more creative, you have more data, you have more probabilities, it goes faster. Yeah, I think it's positive.
Okay. There's always the debate, right? It's a big debate. Do you think, just to finish, and that's my question, then going through after that last question, you're doing this for HR, and obviously the possibilities there's a lot of possibilities. But if you talk about AI in general, because I think that's a lot of people are wondering, right? You are in this field, you know about this, you have an expert into that. Isn't it scary? Scary what can happen with AI in the future? What is your thoughts on that?
You know, it's like
I mean, I know you love AI. I know you're gonna say you would love to be in an AI.
It's a technology. It's a mean to an end. If the end is bad, the mean will serve bad. So if the end is good, then there will be like there are like some dangers. I mean, everybody talks about that. I'm not like I don't think I'm the best one to answer this. But the technology, if it's used well, is going to be the danger in AI, it's like the bias you can have in your data, and then can create vicious circles. Yeah, that's technicalities. You can use AI you can use like a technique inside machine learning to make it unbiased. It exists. You can randomize.
Is it what's going to happen? We will see, right? There's a few more questions quickly from Carl again. Based on your funding experience, VCs versus bank versus private versus government, what do you think?
Government and private, that's the best. And then when you have like government and private at the beginning.
And banks, did you ever think about it?
Yeah,
it's very difficult, right?
I mean, right now we are funded thanks to loans, bank loans that are the collateral is on our client invoices. Yeah, so that's how we fund at the moment.
Okay. Danielle, what kind of shares do you issue in these early funding phases? What was just in your pre-seed? What was it, right? How much shares do you give away? I mean, if it's not confidential information, if you don't want to share it, that's fine. If you can, perfect.
There are no rules. it depends on the it depends on your negotiation levies. You can it can be between 5 to 50%, and depend the value that your the investors are bringing. They are investors. They are bringing knowledge. They are bringing network. They are bringing processes. Sometimes technology. Sometimes a new human resource. They are bringing sweat. It depends.
Okay, well, let's put a top to it. In your pre-seed investment, the first investment you get, what would you say the max of shares you would give away?
No, 20, 40. 20? I don't know. It's this is depend. It's
I've done 20.
Yeah, it depends on your co-founders. It's you cannot. There is no rule, and I cannot give an advice on that. Sorry.
All right, cool. And last question from Vikram Singh: how useful will AI neuron schematics be in future?
AI neuron schematic scheme. That's a tricky question to know if I know about AI neurotic schematic. I need to call my CTO. Can I call? I can call a friend.
You can call.
50-50.
That's fine. That's fine. All right, Ben. Thank you very much. That was great.
Welcome. Thank you very much.
That's good insights. We have a lot of students in the GBS community that are building already businesses that want to build, and we spend a lot of time with them to try to help them. So it's always good to have insights from the exterior. Great project you're in. A great company. I think it's a massive market. HR. I can see that the difficulties of HR anyway, the waste and what you were saying about waste and stuff, all the hiring process, to finding the right people, hiring them, and then after, obviously, I think there's a big thing about productivity as well. So you definitely have a huge market and lots of possible features to implement. And I love the name EVA.AI. I think it's great. You should thank her very much that you took her name. That's great. Great move. All right, Ben, thank you very much for this. Have a great night, and thank you everyone for being here. We'll be back in 2 weeks with Jaume Sampera. He's a big entrepreneur from here, from Barcelona, and he's in telecommunication, 5G, and he's actually sending satellites in space now, and he's basically in the IoT business. So very interesting insight as well. Thank you, everyone, and we'll see you back in 2 weeks. Thank you, Ben.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ben and Antoine. The session was amazing. The interview was super insightful, and I'm sure that our students and audience in general had a very good time. So thank you very much again on behalf of the school and our whole community for your time and for being here with us today.
Thank you, Eduardo.
Thank you, guys.
We appreciate it. Anytime. Bye-bye. Thank you, Antoine.